Hello, everyone. Welcome to AFM podcast. Today we are here with our special guest Rahul Dhiman. I'm also here with
Yeah.
co-founder of AFM Naveed and admin of AFM Qazi Maruf.
Hello.
Thank you all for joining us today. It's our first international podcast. We're very pleased to have you in the podcast, Rahul, bro. Thank you for your time. So, how are you feeling today?
All good, mate. Thanks for having me here. I have my little assistant, Tarasha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
she's
to
my
meet you,
daughter. So,
Tarasha. Mm,
Hello, Tarasha. How are you?
so
yeah.
she wanted to be part of it. The minute I told her that there's going to be a podcast, and
Yeah.
also she
Wow.
got all excited and she said, okay,
It's
Mm,
I'm
delight.
going to be there.
It's delightful to have her here. Our
mm,
Thank
presence
you.
is
Definitely, definitely.
really changing the atmosphere for the
mm.
better.
Yeah.
So, without any
Yeah,
further ado, I will start the questions. Rahul, bro, so you have lived in different parts of the world, like you said, and so you finally settled in India now. So, what was the wildest location you've ever hunted an action figure down? And any crazy stories that you have um, that you went for, getting a 1 by 6 figure. Also, you can tell us a bit about your collection history as well, like how you started doing 1 by 6 4 years ago.
Oh yeah. It's I'm been a pretty new collector, as we were talking earlier and some time back, when you and I spoke. So for me, there was always a passion for superheroes. We all grew up. My dad bought me a first action figure that was some GI Joes and He-Man when yes, and when I was around 7 year old or 6 year old.
Mm,
This is way back in 1984, and I was coming back from Dubai, and he
Wow.
bought me and my younger brother were like pretty excited. Though we broke it within 6 months, by playing with it.
yeah,
That's how we
yeah.
had done.
Mm,
Went extreme. So they always excited me from that day. And
mm,
then my career, I started, I think, again long time back. Started working for one of the Indian animation studios. We used to do for a
mm,
local channel. There used to be only one at that time, and we used to do
mm,
cartoon films for them. So the studio's responsibility was
mm,
to build some cartoons and caricatures for them.
mm,
So I
Wow.
joined as an intern. I was a young boy, and I started working with them. And again,
mm,
the entire talking about superheroes, talking about special features, all that picked
mm,
me up. But life happens. You go back into studies, job, you get married, and back of my
mm,
mind, I was always like, okay, I need to start collecting them. There was a some golden time,
mm,
2004, when I got an opportunity to work with Marvel Comics,
mm,
as a artist for them, and we were working on some of the projects with
That's
Iron
impressive.
Man.
That's super impressive.
Yeah, so
mm,
Iron Man 1 had to be released, and then the first Spider Man, Fantastic
Yeah.
Four. So around that
mm,
time, so Marvel used to give us little snippets of uh, their storyline. They won't give us anything else. We had to build around it. We had to build those characters, looking at whatever reference they have given, and those were mostly coloring books and other activities for young kids. So we were
mm,
building. So at that time, this is like 20 years back, I got super excited again, that this is something
mm,
I enjoyed. It's coming back to my life, and I started looking out. And wherever I would travel or go and live, be it in China or States or London or any other parts of Europe, I would keep looking at these shops selling
mm,
superhero stories.
mm.
And I would mostly do window shopping.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it was. Yeah, then I got all of these. So it was hard to
Mm,
justify, to myself.
mhm,
Okay, should I buy? Should I dive in? Should I not? And I think
mm,
even when long time, maybe she was
mm,
1 year old, and we were in Australia. So me and my
mm,
wife, we went looking for it, and that's where I picked up my first bobblehead Superman figure.
mm,
There. And then it just started, and then I stopped, and then I started thinking. So coming back to your question, where
mm,
the craziest place to dig in, I think I have to say it's India, because India, you won't find these, figures that easily. There are
Nah, nah.
very few stores. I mean, I think pretty similar to Bangladesh, maybe. That very
Mm,
few stores which will have, I mean, extremely crazy prices. You would think 10 times because there are import duties and other factors and shipping costs and all that.
mm,
Yeah. So we were like, so for me, finding a figure, so 1 by 12 was easy. But then I wanted Arkham Knight Batman. That
mm,
was something like my dream figure. I wanted this. So I reached out to multiple people. I mean, that's the craziest. I waited for almost a
mm.
year looking
Okay.
for it,
So,
asking for
mm,
multiple people to, get it for
mm,
me. Almost got scammed.
mm,
But on the international community, somebody, asked me for money and
yeah.
all that. Thankfully, it
Mm,
all sorted and the money came back. But that's
mm.
one figure kept me crazy, kept looking for it,
So,
asking 100 people.
which Batman was it? Like the six
Uh,
inch or the 7 inch one?
yeah, it's one.
From
No, no, it's 1 by 6. I'll come back, man.
oh yeah. Mm,
So it's Come Night. That was
mm,
my, I think, third or fourth. Could have been my first 1 by 6, but it took me a year
mm,
to get that figure. By the time, luckily, I had 5 6.
mm,
And the second part of the question, when you said how it started,
mm,
suddenly how the flood of. So I was working for an organization where it's a gaming industry. So
mm,
I was on holiday. I came back. I had one tattoo, which was nothing to do with Batman, but a normal tattoo on my sleeve.
mm,
And I'm in office showing to one of my team members, and he said, "Oh, there's another guy who got a Batman tattoo. You have to go and check
mm,
it out." I went to his seat and I saw his table was filled with a lot of action figures. So I realized that this guy is admin of one of the toy communities in India,
mm,
and there are a lot of followers, a lot of people. So he asked me to join that. I remained, this is like 6 7 years back. I remained a mute spectator on that community. I had nothing to contribute.
mm.
I
Yeah.
used to keep looking at those figures and said, okay, cool. Maybe someday, maybe I'll pick this or that.
Mm,
And then you say middle age crisis. You
mm,
say a stage where I reached and I said, okay, I need to dive in. I
mm,
need to start getting in. And so it started with one and then two. And within 3 months, I had around 20 figures shipped to
mm,
my place. My wife is pretty supportive of that. So, she never,
mm,
uh, like, okay, but she usually asks, okay, how many more? So that's the only thing. But
mm,
yeah. So yeah, so that's how it started. Almost like 4 years back, I had started with 1 by 6 or 1 by 12 figures,
mm,
few wobbleheads. I had no idea about scales.
mm,
Yeah, I used to talk to other collectors, and they would tell me this thing called 1 by 6, 1 by 12, 1 by 9, 10. These are the brands, Marvel Legends, Hot Toys, and other multiple brands. So I started checking those sites. I started joining some international groups and started picking up or understanding about how they work. And then thanks to guys like you who keep putting a lot of reviews out there, so it's easier. It gets tempting the minute you look at a review, you want to have that figure. But it does help.
yeah. True.
The pros and cons, it
Mm,
does help. I was not game for 1 by 6. I thought, I was talking to my wife and said, yeah. Then I was talking to my wife and I was like, okay, 1 by 6 seems to be a 1 feet figure. I think it's going to be too
mm,
big. It's going to be hard to display. And there are a
Yeah,
lot of
true, true.
soft goods, and I have heard the articulation is little limited compared to 1 by 12. A lot of maintenance, of course, the price. So I wasn't
Definitely.
sure, but then someone was selling, in a local community, one of the Hot Toys Joker,
Okay.
and I said, okay,
Which
it was on a
version?
good deal. Yeah.
Sorry, which version?
The first one, I think the first one they released, I'm pretty bad with names, but I think
Heath
DX11 or
Ledger.
something.
Heath
Yeah,
Ledger's
Heath Ledger
version.
one. So
Yeah.
The
that I
movie one,
got,
right?
yeah,
Mm,
movie one. And then
Yeah.
it remained in a box for 6 months. I was
Okay.
too scared to open it up and put it on display.
mm,
Okay.
And I was very clear from the day one when I started collecting that if I am buying these figures, I need to do a photography, even no matter how good or bad. but every figure I open once, I have to click it once. And then I have to have a display. There is no point buying a figure and put it in a box. There needs to
True.
be justified. If this is my passion, sorry. Yeah. So I need to have a display. So the day I started collecting these figures, I started looking for the best displays. So I started working out on wooden displays, and a country like India, you will have a lot of dust issues. So you have to make sure how best you can do it. So a lot of research, a lot of I looked at a lot of videos, a lot of guidance from fellow collectors, and
Okay.
eventually, yeah, the displays what you can see at my back.
Mm.
It's beautiful.
Magnificent, really.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. So outcome night, to give it in a short answer. Ah, sorry.
Mm.
That's okay. So outcome night was the most difficult one to find. Apart from that, I think I hunt down recently when I was in Singapore. So
Mm.
and they had a new hot toy store.
Okay.
So going there, figuring out suddenly, you collect hot toys or 1 by 6 and you have entire store in front of you. That became the most challenging, that which one to pick. I
Mm.
could only
Right,
bring in like
right.
few, and then you have like 20 in front of you or 40 in front of you.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I don't know, it's gonna be the toughest decision to make. That which figure should I take back? So I think I bought Thor from Love Thunder, and I got a Robocop figure. So those two I
Mm.
bought.
Okay.
Awesome.
This way. Right. So I think, yeah, that's more or less rather than challenging. I think again, as I coming back, it's in India. It's getting a figure in India. It's very difficult. You have to know the good resources.
Mm.
You have to be careful of scammers. You have to be careful of people, milking money out of you. You have
Yeah,
to have
true.
the right resources coming in. Credible. You have to do a little research about who's a good seller or a reseller, where to get it, what's the best price, how it's going to come to you. The
Mm.
duration, the biggest challenge is the wait time. Once it's been shipped, sometimes you have to wait for a month or two before figure reaches you. So you have to keep your fingers crossed that nothing is lost in transit. Everything comes,
Absolutely
properly.
right.
So that's, I
Absolutely
think,
right.
one of the bigger challenge we all face here. You want to add something? Okay. Nah, she's good.
All right. Should we move to the next question?
Yeah, go ahead,
Mm.
guys.
Yeah.
Please.
So I'm sure you saw this coming. Being a Batman fan myself, I couldn't help but notice that tattoo you have on your arm.
Oh, oh
You know,
yes. Yeah.
tell us a bit more stories about it.
Okay, so yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah. We can
somewhere.
see the more
Yeah.
or less. We can see the clear view. Yeah,
Yeah.
magnificent work of art.
Thanks,
So
guys.
tell
So
us a bit
yeah.
about the story behind it, and also do you think the Dark Knight himself would appreciate it, would approve this, or would he raise an
Okay.
eyebrow?
Okay. Even if it does, I'm sure he's under the mask, so I won't see it. Hopefully, if
Yeah.
it's there. But okay, so
Mm.
coming back to this tattoo, so yeah, again, I think I have my entire sleeve, most of the sleeve covered. I started so as I from this. Thank you, man. So as I mentioned that I've been an artist. I've been doing my own sketches over the years as a kid. So does she. So
Wow.
so I went to a tattoo artist, and I was really confused on my first tattoo, and I said, okay, you want it special, something you can relate to. So I gave him some of my sketches, and he changed and he edited them and did my first, second, and third. So after a while, then I was like, okay, these are done. Now what next? What I relate to most? And like you here, in some of the Indian community, I don't know how and why, but I've been called as Bruce Wayne or Batman.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So either way, and I mean, my first love is always in action figures is
Mm.
or in the comic is Batman, and I've always admired that character.
Yeah.
I always felt
Mm.
he's
Great
one of the
choice, man.
chivalry.
Good
Yeah,
job.
I agree,
Same
man.
here. Same here.
Yeah,
We can all be Batman because
oh
Batman
yeah,
is
Yeah,
an idea, a symbol.
exactly.
Way of life.
And
yeah,
and I think the one great thing I like is that's the one superhero. There are no supernatural powers with him. He's not an alien. He is not in part of science
Mm.
experiment. It is as human as one can get.
Yeah.
He just used his own
yes,
human power. So
definitely.
that's yes. So he does that. So he has always had. So for this tattoo, I was like contemplating what should I get, and I couldn't relate to anything else. And I keep circling back to Batman. I kept looking at Batman sketches, and then I was talking to my wife, and she also suggested, "Why don't you have a Batman on your arm?" I said, "Will it be too much?" I said, "No." I told myself, "I don't think it will never be too much to have a Batman tattoo." So that's how one
Yeah.
casual conversation led to another. As I mentioned earlier, I have already seen one of the colleagues had a Batman tattoo. It was very different, amazingly done. But so then the bigger challenge came how I want it to be. What should I get a Batman? Just a batarang signal, or anything related to it, or do I have a movie character? But then my tattoo artist has been good. He come up with some of the sketches, and he suggested me, how it's gonna work on the entire sleeve. So that's how it came in. And I think if the real Batman sees, he should approve it because somewhere down the line, I know I'm one of them. I am
Yeah.
Batman. So,
Yeah.
I
True.
should be. I mean, the only
Yeah.
question that would be
All
raised
part of the
is
Bat plan.
yes.
Mm.
The
Yeah,
only problem would be that why you're revealing your identity. Putting a Batman tattoo on your arm, but then you can go as Bruce Wayne just as a fan
Mm.
of Batman. So
Mm.
I think he should be happy. He should. I mean, everyone like followers. Everyone love being admired. So
Mm.
yes, approve. Thank you. Would you approve it?
I almost had a tattoo myself. I couldn't get one for my personal reasons, but everything that
Mm.
has Bat logo on it, and I don't have, I get. Could be action figures, T-shirts, keychains, even any accessories.
Oh yeah,
But
I can
Mm.
it
relate to that.
was my bucket list to get a tattoo. Uh, well, it's good to see you have one.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you can
sure.
always have one hidden somewhere. So that you are Batman. Small, tiny. Just get Gotham written somewhere. Or
That's a good
or
idea.
anything. Yeah, anything, or just a batarang, somewhere here or somewhere here where it's still hidden or it looks like a birthmark. And you say you were destined to be Batman. That's your birthmark.
Yeah.
You
But
were born with this
That's a good
batarang
idea.
mark. Yeah.
Good
mm.
idea. I just might. Thanks for the idea, mate.
Yeah, man. I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna have another one soon, but with
Yeah.
batarang, but let's see.
Mm.
Hmm. Moving
So,
on.
yeah, Rahul, bro. So you've collected and posed some, incredible 1 by 6 figures. Has there ever been a moment when you're setting up a photo and then you're just feeling like this figure won't cooperate, and maybe Batman wasn't feeling like striking his hero pose? Like, has there been any of those sort of
Oh,
moments?
oh, tell me about it. I think every time there is a there's a big struggle with 1 by 6. The
Mm.
articulation is limited with
Yeah.
most of the figures, and even if there is articulation, it's a special skill which is I'm still learning. Maybe I'm just a noob here to how to pose, how to give that superhero pose. When
Mm.
you look at from your eyes, you're looking from angle, you say, oh wow, that's your passion talking. You just admire that figure. So any angle would look so amazing to you. But the minute you put your camera and then you realize, no, this angle looks horrible. His pose,
Mm.
his arm
Yeah.
is not going as you thought in your head.
Happens to me a lot.
Mm.
Yeah. We all go through inspirations. We do a lot of research before doing a shoot. At least I do. And you are a statue collector, so there are some amazing poses and
Mhm.
statues. So you look at
Yeah.
those and you want to mimic that with one of your 1 by 6 figures.
True.
It's next to impossible. It is
Mm.
next to impossible because either they keep falling down, the hand.
Mm.
So either they keep falling down, the hand won't stretch that much that menacing look, the lighting, everything will make it, so it happens, trust me. Maybe a fluke that sometimes I find a figure placed in a situation and I click and I say, wow, this looks great. So for all, I mean, I'm sure there are great photographers and the people who, I see do amazing poses. So I was watching some of the documentaries and videos and I realized amount of effort they put in, be it 1 by 12, 1 by 9, 1 by 6, or 1 by 4, or whatever, setting up each and every single element of, how the
Mm,
collar should be, how the cape should flow, where the lighting is
True.
coming up. Uh, with me, most of the time happens is, I have an amazing pose eventually, but I realize, oh, his cape was not in a perfect position, or his Batman logo looked a little off. So that's a trouble every time, and especially with some of the figures, if I look back, so Armor Batman is almost impossible to pose. The armored Batman articulations are those are smaller ones. Those are so the armor Batman you can move a little bit. It's more robotic. You can
Yeah.
hardly have any articulation out of him. So it's best to just maybe have a close up or make him stand straight, museum pose. I hope they make
mm,
figures, these kind of figures with better articulation, so you can pose them better. But
mm,
it is a tough job. So, but I had very high hopes doing a great shoot of Armored Batman. And
mm,
one of my first figures after Joker, Armored Batman was my next figure in 1 by 6.
mm.
And that one on the yeah behind with the lights on.
So, being
Yeah.
part of a global collector community, how would you compare the toy photography scene in India with the other countries you have lived in? Any
Oh,
cool trends you have spotted that are unique or certain to certain places?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the skill level is same. Getting another toy. Skill level has always been same, no matter what part of the world you are. It's a, skill is based out on the person, not on the the boundaries and the location. So people do amazing photography everywhere. In India also, I've seen people doing some amazing. I think the only difference that happen is the exposure, your culture, your lifestyle, all those also comes in. When we look at any superhero, I mean that's my own thought, but we look at from where we are. If I see a superhero, I still be myself looking at it and admiring and doing it in my way. And so everyone's culture, lifestyle, things. So when we try to portray the same superhero on the canvas, we tend to bring in our own flavor to it. So, and then I don't think so. I think I've seen really, really cool photography. One thing I've noticed a little bit different, and maybe it's my selective exposure. I could be completely wrong, but that's mine. I've seen a lot of international, especially in 1 by 6, have done a lot of clean shots.
Mm. Yeah.
Minimum of editing or post editing
Mm,
and limited use of dioramas, amazing lights and great cameras and lenses, and they do that. But here when I also started, I tried using a lot of effects, a lot of post editing, pre-editing, things I couldn't get, like maybe smoke in the scene or feathers or anything else. uh, I would try to, because I'm a designer, so I'm handy with Photoshop and other tools, so I could do that. But a lot of international, and I enjoy that. Most of the clean shots, plain
mm,
background, limited background, and
mm,
then they have really cool, crisp shots with minimum, maybe some sparks coming up,
mm,
but more focus on the articulation, more focus on the pose, more focus on the figure and lighting. Whereas
mm,
a lot of my fellow photographers, including me in the earlier days, was more focused on the entire scene. They would click,
mm.
amazing scene clicking. But with 1 by 6, it gets a little difficult because you need a bigger area to have a
Very,
Yeah,
very
true.
perspective, have another figure. You need much bigger, double the size of 1 by Well, so the
So
diorama, the height, everything becomes a challenge
yeah, true.
to post that. So maybe that's the another reason they prefer clean shots.
Mm,
And that's what I've noticed in a lot of amazing photographers that they do
mm,
good, clean shots and stay away from post editing, pre editing, a lot of
mm.
props. They would avoid that. So I think that's maybe the one thing I have noticed. But again, it's very subjective. It's not. I'm not generalizing that. In India people do a lot of props and outside they don't. It's a mix of both outside. But I mean that's what I think is the major difference I've seen.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
for 1 by 6, like most of the collectors, they're preferring to take portraits, like half
Yes.
from the face,
Okay.
True.
also just focusing on the face and like the half scale of the body, like, and
Details.
that comes really good.
Yeah.
So
I follow some of
mm,
them and they do some amazing photography with, but again,
mm,
most of them are very clean shots,
yeah,
limited dioramas, little, effect because then, you need a much bigger setup to build
mm.
it. You need an entire photography room
Oh
maybe
yeah,
to set it up.
definitely.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
just
again a challenge.
yeah, with space, like that's just impractical for at
Oh
times.
yes,
So
that's another thing we
very
face, right?
impractical.
We all guys
Yeah.
face that when we start with two figures in one corner, one
Mm,
shelf, and suddenly you take over the entire room and then the house
yeah.
and the cabinets,
Mm,
everywhere. So you keep doing
yeah.
that, it never stops. I'm
It never
almost
stops. Mm,
done with mine and I have another figures coming in, so I don't know how I'm gonna go about
mm,
it. But yeah, that's another challenge. So you need a space for photography also. So you need to
mm.
be a guy living in a big mansion, a big house, to afford all that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, for someone, you mentioned like just starting their 1 by 6 collection, like, so what's the ultimate must-have figure for you? Like, and if that figure needs like a budget, like, should you kiss your savings goodbye, or there is a smarter way to drive in? Like, just give some ideas for collectors, who want to upscale from 6 inches or 7 inches to 1 by 6.
Okay, so I think talking savings goodbye, that's a reality. None of us can control.
Yeah. Nah.
It's been a unspoken fact between that. Though we talk, sometimes collector says, okay, how much budget should we keep? But then this is
Mm.
passion, so it's very, really, really hard, and it's very hard to keep a budget
No
where to
such
stop.
thing
But
as budget, no such thing.
I agree. I think it's almost
Yeah.
impossible. But again, you don't go bankrupt. Hopefully, no one should. It's a hobby. I'm
Mm.
a strong believer, that it's a hobby. It should give you pleasure, not stress. You shouldn't reach a situation where you're eating only one time meal and saving less for the figure. So that shouldn't be
Yeah.
the case.
Very good
Uh,
answer. Very good.
yeah. So you should always have in your mind that this is supposed to give me pleasure. So I should treat it as a hobby. I should treat it as something I enjoy. A lot of people do hoarding. A lot of people keep buying anything and everything, and I think we all do when we start. Sometimes there's big FOMO, or with most of the collectors I have known, very few who've been very selective. It takes them like
Mm.
3-4 years to settle down and say, okay, this is the line I want to follow. These kind of figures I want to buy. But if someone starts, I mean, there are a lot of people who come in and ask me that, okay, we want to jump into 1 by 6, which figure should we go about? So my first answer is go for the one that gives you the most pleasure, and because it's gonna cost you double or triple the money. The maintenance is gonna be much higher. It's gonna take more space. So at least take one figure which you really, really admire, what you want to be. So for me, it's gonna be Batman, or for someone, it's gonna be Iron Man or Wolverine or any other. But that one figure you relate to most. Why not have that figure? If that's not the case, then look for the ones to start with, a low maintenance figure. That figure which have limited pleather issue, soft goods. It doesn't need cleaning every third day. Maybe you can do some poses out of it and don't have to put it in a, because you're gonna lose interest. If you're gonna put so much money, you're gonna increase your budget and you buy something and suddenly you're like, oh man, I can't do anything with this figure. I just have to put it in a one corner like a statue. It's gonna demotivate you. I was talking to one of the collectors, a young guy, and he does some amazing display with his 1 by 12. His display is really amazing. He has done some extreme poses, and he was so keen to get a Superman, hot toy Superman, and he was like, okay, and he bought it, and I gave him few tips that how to make sure that don't go into an extreme pose, and he was a little disappointed in that, and he said, oh, it seems I can't do anything with it now. So I think be selective, do your research, check, ask, other senior collectors, look at YouTube reviews before going and jumping into it. Look at the life cycle of that figure. Some of the figures might gonna last much longer because there's new pleather, or it's an armor, or it's a die cast. It won't get pale very quickly. Maybe the plastic based one lose color under the light over the time. So I think do your research before buying your most wanted figure. For us, for each one of us, it's going to be very different. So whichever you like, I didn't do that. I just liked it and I picked it up and I realized I can't even post this armor Batman. So that's my learning, and I tell people, either you don't care and just go and pick it up, like most of us do, then it's fine.
Mhm.
And then the budget. That's
Yeah.
a that's a very interesting question, because usually don't see MRPs on these, right? When people are selling, you won't go and find a store that is manufacturing and selling it, and this is the MRP written on this box. And the price depends on the demand of it. Gray market, who's selling it? There are a lot of resellers who just buy to make profit and sell it again, and they wait for when the
Yeah.
demand starts coming in. There are a lot of
Mm.
people who I've noticed much ahead in the game, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but they know that in 6 months there's a new version gonna come in, so they already put their existing figure on sale, and the others who won't know, they might go and buy that and realize in 6 months, oh man, there is a much bigger figure that has come in. So all those things. So I think do your research, check for the prices, figure out, ask at least 5 places before you take a call. Even of difference of $10, $20, anything that makes a difference. Then what's going to be the shipping, how it's going to come into you, what is the condition of the figure. So just don't rush into it because you have found a figure. That goes for any figure. I'm not saying do low balling and try to get the cheapest, but if you really respect, look for a
Yeah.
mint in condition. How old is the figure, how long it's in the box, was it displayed, does it come from a pet free environment? Like I have a cat now, so I know cat hair are
Mhm.
everywhere. Before
Yeah.
every shoot, I sometimes have to clean my figures and remove those cat hairs. Not advisable, but that's okay. I don't buy to resell them, so I'm perfectly okay. So anyone who's going for a figure, I would request you guys to go check at least 5 sources, figure out the best deal, talk to some of your senior collectors or seasoned collectors, and look at their advice. Just don't rush it and buy it, because
Mm.
maybe it's not too much of difference in the money, but down the line, that money, 10 figures, might get you the 11th figure for free. If you keep paying $20
Right, right.
extra for 10 figures, you have $200 spent extra. You can get your
True. Mm.
11th figure. So though there is no cost attached to it, you can spend as much as you want to. Depends on how much you have. A lot of people, it's a funny story, but a lot of people come and tell me, oh, because I can afford, I go and buy expensive figures. So I said, no, I'm impatient. I'm old man, I'm impatient man. I've started new, so I want my
Mm.
figures to come in quicker. So I don't mind, paying a premium price or a gray market price to get that figure, but that's me. I can
Mm.
do it. I'm at that stage of my career where maybe I can afford it. So it's not a competition. It's not a competition who gets it first. It's not a competition who gets the best figure. It's your hobby. It's for yourself. You're collecting it for yourself. You're not doing it for show off. You're not showing. doing, and we love to show off, but we are still not doing it for
Yeah,
others, right?
yeah,
It is our hard-earned money or whatever,
yeah.
but it's
True,
our
true,
passion.
true.
No
Absolutely
one else will
correct.
understand what you feel about it. So, I appreciate
Mhm.
everyone, whoever gets bought, and help each other out, get them the best sources. Don't try to, make money out of them. So these are things, good things to say. I mean, I know there is a business out there, people do that, but so any new collector going into 1 by 6, understand, you know, paying a crazy price is not suitable. But if you think you have that you can only stop at one figure, and this is the
Mhm.
ultimate figure you want, then go for it. But I haven't known anyone who will stop on one figure. It's a
Mhm.
big
Nah, nah.
addiction. No, nobody will. You
Yeah, it
won't
is.
start.
It is.
You know.
Mhm.
It's true, it's true. So I have another question for you. Between Batman and Wolverine, if you could pick only one figure to take with you to a deserted island, where there is no Wi-Fi for Instagram photos, which one are you taking and why?
Okay. So my first figure was Wolverine. I have a lot of love for Batman. I might get another
Yeah,
Mhm.
tattoo of Wolverine sooner or later. Yeah. So that's a tough one. Man, it's hard to decide. I don't know if I can decide.
I'm very
Uh,
curious about the
uh,
answer.
yeah, me too, me too.
We
okay, so
all
she
are.
says, yeah, I don't know. I think uh, if there's nothing I can click on, post it, I think it has to be Batman then. Batman
Yeah.
will
Wow.
win over
Now we are
No,
Wolverine.
talking.
So,
which
Yes.
Batman? Which Batman?
Which
The,
Batman?
the the new Batman of Pattinson, or the Christopher Nolan
no,
Batman, or the '89
Batfleck,
Batman?
Batfleck.
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 Bat
Yeah,
flag
that's
all
good.
the way.
All the
Right.
way.
All the way. He's the man. He's the Batman for me. Yeah,
For
Absolutely
he's
right.
us, for me too as well. For
yeah.
us.
I know when he was casted for it, and I read about it that he just fits into it. His
Mhm.
He was just
I
perfect.
think yeah. I think he's much more broader than me, but I think we both match same height. We are
Mhm.
almost 6'3". So yeah, so we enjoy, but it has to be Batman. He's the ultimate beast of a Batman. Others, I mean, I know
Totally agree
Batman's
with
stuff.
you.
Yeah, he's that strong. Others are also great, not taking anything away from it, but for me, that's the guy. So I might be carrying him, with me anywhere and everywhere if I could. Not me. Not you. Yeah, so I would choose Batman over you.
Mhm. So yeah, that's a really interesting answer. So now you know which is your favorite figure in your collection.
I
That
love the
question has
answer.
sort of
Yeah, I mean, see, so
sorted
so
out.
if it's a close call, but then having a Batman tattoo first says it all. I could have had a Wolverine
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah, but I
Mhm.
think it's just a minor difference between
Mhm.
for me Batman and Wolverine. Both are like
Mhm.
amazingly
Definitely.
great, amazingly amazing. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm. So, well, like we've noticed, you started your inert collection. Like inert is a very hot competitive to hot toys now. So, which brand do you think captures the essence of a character better? Like, and have you ever been so impressed by a release that you shed a tear of joy seeing the release in hand or in promo pictures?
So, see, listening to this, I get goosebumps.
Mhm.
The excitement. So the two parts. So yes, I recently got like two, three, four in art figures. Gandalf, Aragon, and
Mhm.
then Batman, Partisan Batman, and Superman.
Yeah.
And Bruce Wayne. So these are 4, 5 figures I've recently unboxed in last 2, 3 months,
Mhm.
and they're amazing. I mean, I'm glad that there is another company that is giving competition.
Mhm.
No means that Hot Buzz is not good. They do phenomenal job. They do mass
Mhm.
production. The problem there are teething issues within art. I am in game with any brand that is giving us a better figure with a better price and more user friendly, more closer to what we want, be it any scale, anything. The first The first tear of joy came with, I'll be very honest, the first Wolverine I got, Marvel Legend.
Mm,
That was the first figure in hand for me.
mm,
That was mine. So that gave me so much joy. I was on top of the world at that time having that figure in my
mm.
hand. Now I
Wow.
have got a 1/6 Wolverines also, but having that particular figure, and I think if you can just say, yeah. So yes, so this is the
Oh,
guy.
that's yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
Mm.
So he's the one was my first
mm,
ever figure which I picked it up and gave me crazy goosebumps and thing. Now, but if I have to rate the best figure that gives so far in 1/6 as per me is Inart's Gandalf. That
yeah.
figure is amazing. Everything
Mm,
about it when I was unboxing it almost a month back, I think I had a similar happiness or goosebumps looking at
mm,
every aspect of it. Every figure has given me the same feeling. Every time I
mm,
unbox a figure, sometimes there are a few disappointments looking at the quality or other aspects, but when it gives the essence of that, the character, everything about it, it feels so cute.
mm,
So, my wife walked in also in the room and she said, "Oh, this actually look." I mean, she has said it like 100 times for all the figures, but
mm,
she said this looks like a mini person standing here,
mm,
and a for real, a 1/6 scale person standing here. So, I think
mm,
recently that's the figure, but the most happiness I had was this
mm.
Wolverine with me. That gave me no, not you. Again, you lose. And her, of course, saying that this one by one world in also. Cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, not talking about food. But not
Mhm,
cheesecake. You choosing it. You choose cheesecake over me. Yes.
Oh, I love
mm,
So,
cheesecake. You know.
oh, yes, me too. So she keeps asking me, what do you prefer, a cheesecake or her? And I always say cheesecake. I choose
Yeah.
cheesecake over her.
Cheesecakes are the best.
Yeah. You have to go to, Cheesecake Factory in New York and have it. And I didn't do a cheesecake. Yeah. So yeah, so I think that's the figure. These are the two figures which stands out most, when it comes to quality of
yeah.
figures. First one, Wolverine, because that was my first figure. So having it in hand, able to do articulation, move it, sing on the table, I would carry it everywhere at that time.
Mm,
So nothing can replace what is your first figure is. I sold a lot of 1/12 figures after that because I realized those were most. I just bought it and kept buying, and I'm not able to
mm,
justify their presence with me. So I handed
mm,
over to other collectors who are looking for it. That they'll give more love to those figures than what I am giving, and not treating them as a stepchild. So,
mm,
but this I'm never gonna sell to anyone.
mm,
This is the one figure because it was my first starting of the journey. So it'll always be very special to me.
mm.
Fascinating tales and fascinating story. So I had two questions for you back to back.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask
Okay.
them all at once. So, being a massive collector like yourself, all those wonderful things you have in your possession, what's the most favorite figure you have that, I don't know, puts a smile on your face like Joker? Maybe one favorite figure could be top three. Tell us about that. And another thing I wanted to ask, like, I'm sure you have friends, and maybe your friends visit your place. So, seeing such magnificent collections all around, do they just get it? Or they also find you a bit nuts, or do they prefer getting nuts with you?
I think so. Let me just walk through with this, and
Yeah, please do.
yeah. So this is the section that gives me the most smiles. When you're talking about Batman. Batman section. So Batman section. Yes. So these are the figures here that
Wow.
gives me the biggest one. Every time I walk in, I usually come and stand in front of these figures, look at
In
them,
front of.
and
Mm,
admire, and then I start moving around to my other Batman collections, and then slowly towards the other figures I have. So I don't know how much you were able to see here, but yeah. So
No,
coming
I
back
think
to
it's
it, it has to be Batfleck. It has to be Batman. These are the set of two shelves where I come in
Mm.
and I look at it, and then there are other variants of Batman.
It's going to be Batman and Catgirl.
Yeah, and now recently this one's. So yeah. So coming back to it, so this is the figure where I always come and stand next to it, look at it, appreciate it. I would take it out and make sure that this figure is clean, nice, and anytime I get I do a shoot of that. So it's Batman all the way. Oh,
yeah.
friends, it's an interesting thing. A lot of people find me nuts doing it.
Let's go nuts.
Let's go nuts.
The story of all lives, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanna go nuts? Let's go nuts.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
yeah, so I think initially when I started collecting and everything, I was like, really? Why? What? How? Yeah, people don't get it. And that's okay. So a lot of my friends, were like very confused, including my mother also. Recently she said, "Oh, so all that figure, this has something to do with your job, right?" I said, no, mom. You are asking me, you've known me for collecting for 4 years. So a lot of people thought either I make them or I sell them or I promote them, or I do something. It has something to do with my job.
How the name is actually never.
Yes,
We just collecting.
yes, that's not the lamest.
Then what's the name is for this?
Yeah.
What's the
So
name is for this then?
because I love them, like you, like amount of toys you have.
Yeah, yeah, more than you.
Yeah. So that's what but they don't get it. Some of them initially they were very very confused. They're like, okay, that's a weird hobby. There's no use of it. It's like
You're a kid.
you should have, yeah, you're a kid, or you should have bought shoes or watches or anything else, and
Yeah.
especially and the price. Sometimes are you nuts? Why would you spend this much on it? And then now things have changed. A lot of them walk in the house and they come to this floor. I have these sensor motion lights here. The minute they walk in, they see this and then they are like shocked, surprised. They would stand here, admire it, appreciate it, and they said, "This is really unique. We have not seen anyone. Oh, we would like to bring our kids." I said, "No." So,
Yeah.
yeah, I have to be very clear about that. I said no.
Mm.
Sometimes younger kids would come and they want some of them to play, and I have to be rude enough to say no. You can't have them. These are collectible items. They are not, I mean, you can go to some of the toy stores and buy those, or I'll buy it for your kid if you want someone to play. When I
Mm.
started, I said I broke the first figure I had, right? So that's how we are. There's nothing against anyone, but that's how we play. We want to make them fight, hit each
Mm.
other, chop off the heads, all that. So I don't want to do that with my figures. So people find it now. I think there are a lot of people who visit. They want to come to this floor and appreciate. And now when I meet them, after they have seen my collection, they are very interested to know what am I getting next, and they feel proud if they can recognize some of them. So that that's the change I've seen. They do, oh, we have seen Marvel, we have seen DC movies, and we know this one, we know this character. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they are not, but then they really enjoy. They want to be part of it. So that's a one change.
I know it's a big guy.
Mm.
Yes, because you've seen them.
And you told me that.
Yeah,
Except for that police guy.
that's a Joker.
Yeah.
So
It's Joker like Barbie. He can be anything he wants.
yes, so
The Joker is another version of Barbie.
yes, yes. So that's, I think, coming back to it. And thank you for all the special tips
Nice.
and comments.
So I
But
have another question. As a great photographer, how do you bring into these static figures, bring life basically? How do you bring life into these static figures? And any secret tricks for making Batman look more extra brooding, or Wolverine look more feral, savage?
Okay, so I'm not a great photographer. I'm still learning, but I've been
No, no, you are a great
doing.
photographer.
I
Mm.
have, I've been doing some trials, talking to a lot of other photographers, asking them tricks, learning about the lights and poses. So it's hard to bring the essence and how we feel. Again, being a creative person, we can see our creativity, but what I've learned is a good art means look at this, not look at me. People should
True.
sometimes we start focusing on the art, and like your question says, how great the Batman is looking. But then maybe the entire composition, and is the Batman looking great in that composition? Is the story
Yeah,
is clear?
true.
Is it conveyed right? So that's what I try to do. I don't know how successful I am, but bringing life. Oh, my mantra always been I do a lot of research. I do take a lot of references. I would spend good 3, 4, 5 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, keep collecting references, keep looking at the best angles. I still can't produce it. Coming back to the earlier question that figures won't cooperate with me. What is in my head and how I want them to.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so then I try to look at a lot of comics, go back to the basic comics and see those poses and how those artists have tried to bring in the best. Or if these are more movie accurate figures, then I would go and see those movie scenes and knowing the limitations. So the toughest job is you have something in your mind, then you have a figure who won't participate with you, who won't cooperate, who would refuse to have any articulation. Thankfully, with art and some of hot toys, you have you know eyes that can move. You can
Yeah,
move the eyes, and
rolling
it makes
eyeballs.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, and it
Yeah,
makes a huge difference. It
Mm.
makes how you want that figure to look at and the angle and all that. It makes a huge difference. So to bring that
I
life,
think the game changer like will be if Hot Toys or Inart or any 1/6 can bring jaw articulation. That's
yeah,
yeah,
that's something
true.
everyone's been after the rolling eyeballs. I think everyone's like looking forward to his jaw articulation. Like that
oh
is
yes.
practically still gonna be sitting under the skin texture, like, and it won't go
Yeah,
off
I
in
think
its
some of them tried to do that. I can remember, but with the silicone skin and you could move, press all that. But yeah, with the technology improving every day.
Mm,
Look at the figures. We used to get 10 years back or 15 years back, and now
mm,
the kind of figures we are getting now, there's a huge difference in them. And the material is getting better, stronger. The likeness of the figures are getting better. The
Right.
articulations hopefully are getting better. So with time, it's gonna keep getting hopefully better and better. The skeleton inside the figure would be much more stronger, much more articulated. So it will be
mm.
good to have those extreme poses. I have few Spider-Man 1/6. I just can't click them. I can't get that articulation how Spider-Man should be. That's the essence
Yeah.
you want. But Batman. The best part is even if Batman is standing in a museum pose, he would look awesome. So that's
Yeah.
the best to have.
That
You
we
don't
can
need those
read.
crazy. It's just standing, looking at you, little turn of head, right lighting, and you get Batman. Even the back of the Batman with the
Mm,
light coming, and then there's a moon shining somewhere in the back, or some bats flying. You get it. So I think some of us chose the right superhero because he looks
mm.
menacing no matter what he
Yeah.
is doing or standing or sitting. So you don't need to put a lot of effort to get the essence of that character, especially in Batman.
Again.
So yeah, it's
Mm,
helpful depending on the figure. But again, as I said, I hate shooting Spider-Man poses because I can't get it
mm,
out of 1/6. I don't have any 1/12 Spider-Man, so that's an extreme figure for me to get the good output. So you won't see much apart from the sitting somewhere or sleeping or something. Those are the best I can get out of Spider-Man. So it's a tough
mm,
job. I think you need to look at the right poses, camera angle,
mm,
and lighting. These are the three things which will do trick for you. I'm sure there are other better photographers who will give more detailed. But for me,
mm.
so far, this is working.
Yeah,
Great, great.
definitely. So, as we approach the end of our podcast, I would like to ask you a last question, which is, I'm sure like you enjoy being a part of the AFM community, and do you think we've got a great community? And how do you think being part of collector communities like ours change the way you collect and display your figures? Like, and have you ever got into a friendly competition over who poses a figure best? Like, at any point?
Okay, so yeah, so maybe I'll ask the second part first.
Mm,
Friendly competition. Maybe in my head, yes.
mm,
I want to pose it better. When I see someone else posing a figure great,
yeah.
I would come back and I'll say, okay, how I posed was pretty lame. I need
Mm,
to repose it. Need to make sure how it looks. It's funny. When I'm posing in my display, as I said, I'm over 6 feet, so I try to
mm,
bend down and see people maybe
mm.
on shorter height would look at these figures in this manner. If someone is taller, gonna look. So is this figure gonna do justice? No matter of if there is a gap of 6 inch, so it does matter to me. So I've gone into those, but maybe not the competition really. We have yes, we have spoken to each other, advised, helped, and
Mm,
say try doing this.
mm,
Maybe this will bring out better in your posts. So a lot of people have advised me. Maybe I have
mm,
advised some of them, not as many who have advised me. But yes, it's always there. When I am posing something, I look at fellow collectors, photography or poses or display, and I want to have the best pose. And if it's not posed properly, I have clicked something, I would like to delete it and redo it. But yeah, there is always a in my head, to have the best
mm,
posing because it justifies me.
mm,
They're gonna represent me
mm,
in a manner, how the figures are posed.
mm,
Now AFM. That's an interesting question. When we interacted for the first time a few months back, and
mm,
so I like to start from there. So I've been part of a lot of communities,
Yes, yeah.
and but very limited, like who are purely about great photography of figures and people uh, helping out each other. A lot of communities have their own agendas and things where you can search, you can sell, you can buy.
mm,
You talk reviews, and those are also helpful. It gives you people argue, people appreciate. All those happens in those communities, and I've been part of all those kind of communities for last 3 4 years. I've been looking at sharing memes, enjoying. ACBA comes as one which I've always enjoyed and followed. Looking at the justification of these figures. So for me, having an action figure leads to two things, and that's my personal choice. One, they have to have a display. They have to
yep.
be in a display, posing great.
Mm,
Second, you need to click them, no matter if you're a good photographer or not. You need to click them
mm,
and share with fellow collectors and with the world.
mm,
That's I say we don't like to show up, but this is your passion. This gives you happiness. I know a
yeah.
lot of collectors who are yeah, sure. So there are a lot of collectors I know who are um, don't want to talk to people. They are very introvert. They'll never
Mm,
display the pictures. They never share what they got.
mm,
It's just for them, and I understand it's their choice. For me, it's always been about showcasing.
yeah. Mm,
That's how we got to know about them. If someone would have made superhero and never shared, we
mm,
would have never got to know about them. So
mm,
it brings the kid alive between us,
mm,
and it's a lot of fun. So
mm,
AFM, I was not sure I wanted to join this. I got your invite.
mm,
I
mm,
think I was in Singapore.
mm,
I ignored it. Then after I think
mm,
a month or so or 15 days back, again,
mm,
we chatted on something and you shared, and I said, okay, let me join. Let me be polite.
mm,
And if I won't like it, I would, go and
mm,
uh, quit the community, which I've done it with many.
yeah.
Since I've joined this community, and I'm not kidding, it's been great. I
Mm,
see a lot of positive energy. I see comments which are appreciating people.
Mm,
It's not about how many likes you get, but it's about getting recognized by fellow collectors. More than that, you see people with same passion, same energy. There are a lot of people here who are posting, have a same passion and energy.
mm,
They are posting, you go and they are happy to help you. You ask them how you did that, what worked, what didn't work, and it's a control group, which I always
mm.
appreciate. It's not there is a purpose of this group. I know
Yeah,
few groups
there is.
where the purpose is lost. So when the
Mm,
purpose is lost, then you don't really enjoy much.
mm,
Okay, sure. Yes, you can have your closing comments. So, she really, really wanted to be part of it.
mhm,
So,
She
I
is the
think
star of the show tonight, you know.
mm.
Yeah, true, true.
I'm sure she has been
Yeah.
okay. It's great. She's been part of all my collection. She understands. She unboxes.
Mm,
Help me out with some of the props she has with her toys for photography. Takes
mm,
some of my props. Respect
mm,
my collection. I respect hers.
mm,
Uh, so what number of Barbies and other toys she has. But yeah, coming back to AFM. AFM is something that give you happiness. At least to me, it gives me happiness because I go and see a lot of good clicks. The content
mm.
is great. As of now,
Yeah.
it's a great content. I don't know how
Mm,
it's gonna be in future. How
mm,
much it can be controlled, but it's filtered. It's a good content. It's
mm,
something you feel good about. It's not lost. It's about a good content group.
mm,
So your content is not lost
mm,
in other stuff. So there is a focus on it. If there is a buy and sell group,
mm,
then it's a buy and sell group. You go
mm,
there, you look at what to buy, what to sell, or ISO figures. So
mm,
it's a focus group. So if as long as the group have focus, some groups like to have everything, and it's
mm,
working for them. For me, this is the only group I've been enjoying lately a lot
mm,
because I see and I've invited a lot of people. I've asked a lot of
mm.
people if anyone comes and says, what do you do with these? So I share, some of the screenshots from AFM
Yeah.
non-collector
Mm,
friends, and I tell them that look at this. This is what
mm,
people are doing.
mm,
It's an FM is just a platform, but look at these guys. They are
mm,
amazing collectors, amazing photography skills, amazing collection. So that gives a lot of joy to them that this is the purpose. At least for me, for everyone else, it could be different. You have your
true.
own purpose. You want to do. A lot of people just want to have a group where you go and chit chat and talk about other things. All
Mm,
that is fine, but this kind of group, I think solves purpose for me. I really enjoy.
mm,
I really enjoy
mm,
clicking pictures. I really enjoy doing a research. So I know if I have to click a new picture, I just have to go on this group and search for some of the content, and I get some amazing poses, some amazing
mm,
collections, and everything comes in here. So
mm,
yeah, I think it's you guys are doing a great job, and I'm not just
mm.
saying because I'm on a podcast with you guys. I've been part of 10, 12 groups, and
Yeah. True.
for me, this works because it gives
Mm,
at least different perspective. I'm happy to be part of other groups, but
mm,
this is something I enjoy because it's
mm,
because of the good content, controlled content.
mm,
This content is
mm,
filtered.
mm,
People are appreciating everyone.
mm,
No one is putting anyone down. If
mm.
you're in a bad mood, that doesn't mean you put other person down. So
Yeah. True. Yeah.
we come. This is a hobby we
There's
enjoy.
no, yeah, definitely, there's no space for any negativity in AFM.
Yeah, and we
And
do this for happiness, right? We do this for our own child. We do this for our pleasure. I'm part of a lot of collector moods in India,
mm,
and that's the best part. This is the one hobby that put us together, right? You could be 21-year-old, or I'm like almost 40, 40 and 48, and I've
mm,
known some collectors, above 50, 55,
mm,
60, even internationally and in
mm,
locally. So we all talk same language.
mm,
We're sitting on a table and we're talking the same language and we're learning and appreciating. So that's what this hobby brings us. No matter what
mm,
your hobby is, whatever you do, it always
mm,
brings the people together.
mm.
So for me, FM works because it brings a lot of great content.
Definitely.
Every time I open it, at least 8 pictures out of 10 are like jaw dropping, two are like
Mm,
amazing, but eight are like jaw dropping. So people are coming in happy
mm,
to showcase their skill sets, and people are learning out of it. And it's
definitely.
interactive. One
Yeah.
good part. It's not just you go and post. The amount of
Mm,
effort admins are taking in this, you guys are taking in it, is
mm,
commendable. It's interactive. You know that if you're giving it to community, community is also giving you back. So it
yeah. True.
both ways. There are a lot of activities happening. It keeps you, on
Mm,
toes. You want to go and do something new. That is for 4 years. Whatever groups I've been part of, I've always enjoyed this. That there
mm,
are events. Something is happening. Some features
mm,
are happening. Talking
mm,
about or interviews of people or snippets about a figure or a community or whatever.
mm.
And a lot of random stuff, but related to toys is there.
Yeah.
So it's keep happening. So it's not just
Mm,
open. It's not like you just open, click, close.
mm.
You like to read, you want to see, you want to read comments. There's something
Yeah.
coming up.
True.
You want
Mm,
to follow it up. So I think that's a great job you guys are doing, and
mm.
I hope this continues at least for
No,
me.
I think me and Navid bro have the same vision since 2017 when we founded the group, and I think this year has been the crucial year for us where we've taken this step of expanding to Instagram as well, and it seems to be working out really well, and we're getting collectors from all over the globe.
Ramin here was doing the most hard works,
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. No, I would
Him
like to
and
appreciate.
another of our
Mm,
admin who is missing today.
yeah,
Uh, he's there,
uh,
with us in spirit.
mm.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I
They're
know,
doing
I know the
wonderful
amount of
jobs,
effort goes in.
Insta figurine is also a big brain mind
Oh
for
yes,
all
he
the
does a
everything.
great job. I've
Yeah,
seen, and he
definitely.
does put
Mm,
everyone's pictures, put
mm.
it. So he contributes a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I think
Cheater
it's
on
a
it.
it's a it's a team effort, like the what's happening here. And since we are at the end of the podcast, I would like to let our viewers know that Rahul Bro has recently joined AFM as a moderator. I would like to congratulate you formally in this video for being a part of the
thanks a
panel,
lot, man.
and we are very
Glad
pleased
to
to
have
have
you
you
on
on
board.
board. Mm.
Definitely.
We are
Yeah,
very
and
pleased to have you on board, and we're hoping for great things to come. And last week was a very,
Wonderful.
or last week, last month, like October was a very happening month for all of us. Like we had BTS week, which was your idea, and we saw a lot of
yeah,
BTS. Like a lot of people showing how they click the photos, how their setup
yeah.
is,
I was pretty
and
selfish in that. I wanted to look at how people are doing their
yeah, no,
magic behind the camera. So I was very intrigued to
definitely.
to know all that.
Definitely. And we also had Spooktober, where we had the horrifying action figures come out both in Instagram and Facebook. So that was really good, and it was very hard to make choice, like select out of hundreds of pictures, like you know. And our panel did a great job at selection. So to our viewers, thank you for watching so far, and hopefully we'll see Rahul Bro in our next podcast, doing some
Would
interviews
love to do that.
alongside us, and we'll catch you in the next podcast.